Hi there guys, Ken here, your thrifty apprentice, and welcome to the very first video in our Art Kit Sunday series. Art Kit Sunday is an idea that I developed where we will be doing a review of one art kit a month, so that'll be one video a month going up on the channel, where we will be taking an art kit and looking at everything about it from beginning to end. First impressions, unboxing, we're going to swatch, we're going to do a sample painting, and then we're going to do a mini review. Now, I decided to do this because art kits are really economical and affordable ways to be introduced to a brand or to certain products. And it'll give you the opportunity to kind of try out different products from a particular brand without breaking your pocket or without, having to buy big sets and then maybe being disappointed with it. So that's pretty much what this series is going to kind of be about. And I'm going to be, getting art kits from different vendors, different places. And I'm going to always try to make sure that they're affordable. And we're going to test those products out to see if they may be something that you're interested in. And I also, kind of want to throw out there, I've told you guys before that art kits can be a great way to save money because you don't just necessarily have to be being introduced to a brand more so than just buying something in a bigger set, because typically when you buy bigger, it's the cost per product is less, so you save. With that being said, the very first kit we're going to be looking at is Derwent Academy. So let's talk about Derwent Academy for a minute. Now, I have been able to verify that Derwent Academy is student grade line of products produced by the all too known Derwent Cumberland company. Derwent is really known for their pencils. They're really known for their dry medias. They make great watercolor pencils. I don't think Derwent has a watercolor set in its professional line. I'm sorry, yes they do. They have that Derwent ink tints paint set, which from what I've seen and heard from reviews, it's less like a watercolor and more like a water-soluble ink. But these are actually watercolors produced by the Derwent Academy division. From what I've been able to discover in my research, there are 24 colors in the watercolor range for the Derwent Academy. And this little particular art kit that we have here is starting us off with 6 different colors. That's white, black, crimson red, ultramarine blue, grass green, and cadmium yellow. A little bit about Derwent that I was able to discover from Derwent Academy that I was able to discover from the website. Read, Derwent Academy has been created for aspiring artists and hobbyists wishing to develop and improve their drawing skills. The Derwent Academy range covers a wide portfolio of products including colored, watercolor, and sketching pencils, oil pastels, soft pastels, acrylic paints, oil paints, watercolor paints, and metallic markers. All products are easy to use with a great range of colors and degrees available, whilst retaining the high standards expected from Derwent. So that's pretty much the synopsis that they give you on their Derwent Academy division. So without further ado, let's go ahead and break into this and see what we have here. I'm just gonna break the seal. And we're going to pull off this plastic. Now, this watercolor kit, and we'll do a little reading of the little pamphlet in just a second. Let me get this on out and open here. So, Derwent Academy watercolor set, Academy for aspiring artists, 6 watercolor paint tubes that are 12 milliliters apiece. There's a 15 sheet watercolor paper pad that's 9 by 12. There's one palette, one paintbrush, a color chart with a color wheel that they've included here, and I'm probably going to cut that out and place it on my chart sheet. It gives you the website, derwentacademy.com, and just like the Derwent products, they are distributed by ACO Brands. So, just more proof that this does come from the original Derwent company. Let's see, the little paints just come in on little flimsy cardboard and plastic container. There's a 6-well palette here. There's this little brush glued, and I want to say, yeah, that's definitely a golden Taklon brush. It's a Derwent Academy brush number 7 flat. So we'll be using that to test it out. Get that glue off there. Let's see. All right. Let's see if I can pull this off of our pad. And I just got glue spots all down there. I'll probably go through and get those off on a little break. But let's look here. Textured surface watercolor paper, Academy for Aspiring Artists, cold press, acid free, 190 pounds. Wow, interesting. So this is 190 pound acid free cold pressed watercolor paper. So this should be really interesting. I've never used 190 pound paper. I've never used anything heavier than 140 pounds. Eco Brands Europe. So yeah, I'll just take a look here at this. It's pretty smooth actually. I mean, the back is smoother. There's a very light texture on the front, but it's pretty smooth if you ask me. Okay, so we're going to be swatching our colors on this, and we're going to be doing our sample painting on this. I don't want this to pop off, so maybe I'll just leave it like that for right now. Let's go ahead and crack open these paints. All right, and let's take a look at each tube that we have here. So you have the Derwent Academy tube. It's a 12 milliliter tube. It has the Derwent Academy logo on it with the color name. It says watercolor in several different languages. It lets you know that it's 0.4 ounces. The back of the tube says it conforms to ASTM D 4236, regulations for USA only. So this is distributed in the USA only, I guess. And it does say 14 plus. The description did say that the paints were ideal for art students that are 14 years or older. It's ideal for hobbyists and aspiring artists of all ages to help their creativity flow. So that is pretty much all of the information on each tube. So I'm gonna get my little self together here. We're going to go into the next segment where we're actually going to swatch out the paints. Okay, so now we are going to move into our swatches. And during the break, I did get a few things together. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and tear this little perforated part with the color chart off of the labeling, the little labeling sheet, because it will be actually going on my swatch sheet with the little color chart. I'll probably get some scissors and clean that up a little bit. Just put that to the side. And then we'll put this to the side for right now because we will be putting it on our swatch sheet. So first I'm gonna go ahead and get some paint put down. And these do come with punctures, little punctures in the top of the cap. So that lets me know that these are foiled over. You do need to, I should have shaken it first just to make sure the binder and the paint was mixed. There you go. The binder wasn't separated. I did shake them a little bit just to make sure, but there was no binder and paint separation at all. All right, so let's stick those to the side. And I'm gonna grab the brush that came in the kit, which was that number 7 flat Derwent Academy brush. And then I have already taken the liberty during the break to get the little swatch page together. I really don't want to pull this out right now, but at the end of the day, it probably won't end up staying in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and tear that out because it's going to end up going in my swatch booklet. Sit that to the side. All right, so let's get the painting here. So here I have Derwent Academy watercolors. There's 6. Here I have a section to swatch, layer, and glaze. Here we're going to be doing an opacity test. This is going to be a lift test. This is where we're going to use salt for a salt test. Eventually I'll be doing a little demo painting with them. And then this is where we're going to actually paste our little color swatch once we're done with everything. So we'll have a full little sheet to know what's going on with our colors. So let's just go ahead and get started here. So the first thing I'm going to do is swatch each color out. And then we'll move on from there. We can see we have completed all of the tests. We've done the swatching, the glazing, the layering, the opacity test, the lift test, as well as the salt test. And I did go ahead and just brush the salt off. We'll be moving into our, and don't worry, we're going to be talking about the results of all of those tests and the things that I think in the review portion. But I want to go ahead and move into the demo portion. So now it is time for us to take a look at the review portion of everything. So let's just take a look at the results of our testing. The paints actually turned out to be really vibrant. They turned out to be really saturated. They do have a granulation to them, so I'm gonna definitely say that that's more likely from fillers than from it actually being a granulating pigment, simply because I know at the price point that these are, that those are just not complete expensive pigments in these paints. They definitely have some fillers in them. Now the paints are not chalky. They do not rub off at all, so they aren't going to be chalky. They are pretty transparent. The white and the black are actually pretty opaque. You can see here, and I did these in pretty heavy consistencies there. There's not much sedimentation. The red and the blue are pretty clear. There's a little bit on the green and a little bit on the yellow, but it's very, you can't really notice it much at all. As far as the lift test goes, they all lifted pretty well. Let's take a look at the sample painting. Now, you guys will see that this swatch sheet is different. Originally, it was a 9x12 sheet, and I had a little box on the end that I was going to do the sample painting in. But I did decide to cut off the testing part, and this is what I'm going to put in my swatch booklet. And I decided to do a full-size painting. I just jumped right in and said, you know what, let's really test the paints and the paper. And in the demo, you will see that I did use quite a bit of water with the paints. They did hold up really well in light and heavy consistency, so that was cool. As far as the brush is concerned, the little number 7 flat, it's a, you know, your everyday average golden tackline synthetic brush, and it served its purpose. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about the brush. I think it's pretty cool. It was pretty nice. So that was that on the brush. The paper itself, you know, it was all right. I'm not used to painting on such a smooth textured paper, other than maybe cardstock sometimes when I'm making cards. But for all intents purposes, the paper held up to heavy washes really well. The paper held up to my credit card scraper, where I scratched in the veining on the leaves really well. It did not peel at all. I don't recall anyway. I mean, there was some weird granulation with the paints themselves as I painted. And it did take me a little bit longer to paint this composition than it normally takes me to paint something that's 9x12. I had a little trouble with getting the paints to really perform the way that I wanted to. Not that they were bad at all. They did lift really well. They layer really well. You can see here, I was able to do a second wash layer on top of the swatches, and not only did it increase the depth in the color, it increased the vibrancy, and it did so without making the colors look too muddy. Again, although I know without a shadow of the doubt, because of this, you know, textured granulation, that it does have fillers in it. But that did not hinder the glazing or the layering properties of the paint, which I thought was kind of impressive, because as you can see here in the sample painting, I did a lot of layering, although I kind of stuck to one color family. And there's some yellows and some greens, and the blues only went in the background. And some mixtures of sort of a burnt sienna color that I mixed to splash in the background. Then, of course, the brown that I mixed. And then, of course, you have to keep in mind, I was only working with 6 colors, so I did a lot of color mixing. And the colors mixed really well and really cleanly. You can see here from the salt test, one, that the result of the salt test shows that they react really well to salt. So using that technique will add some dimension to any paintings that you're doing with these paints. And you can also see here that with doing this little box, I did some color mixing and got some pretty clean colors. Was immediately able to mix a vibrant green, violet, and orange without any muddying of the paints. Again, here I was able to mix colors without them getting muddy, and they still held their own definition and stood apart once layered on top of each other. So I thought that was pretty impressive too. Let's see. Of course, there is no light fast or pigment information included in the packaging on the tubes, nor on the website concerning these. So I would probably have to say, especially at the price point of $9.99 for the kit, then they probably aren't that light fast. So they're probably going to be more suitable for sketchbook work, art journaling work, maybe, you know, just something that you're going to put under matte and under glass, and you're going to be hanging somewhere that is not going to be exposed to a lot of direct sunlight in any shape, form, or fashion. Because again, I don't believe that they're very light fast. However, Derwent did stick to what you expect of it with the vibrancy of the colors. I have to say, these are some, for $9.99, these are some really rich pigmented colors. I have to say that. And the performance is not half bad at all. Now, originally in the video, you heard me say that I wasn't sure if this was a kid's grade. I would say after testing them and the performance of them in my demo painting, they're definitely more a student grade paint. They hold up really well. I think they perform better than like maybe the Crayola Prang watercolors, although Prang is a very, very good watercolor. I'm not dissing it at all. To a lot of the other kid brands. So this is definitely not a kid brand. This is definitely in the student grade. I'll put this on the same level as, like, say, the Aim High Arts. I will put it on the same level of like the Royal and Lang Nickel. The same level as let's see, some other ones. We'll do those comparisons in just a second. So I just want to show you guys the results of the test, and all of the results from the test were able to translate into the sample painting. I was able to do the layering, the glazing, to control the opacity, to lift when I needed to, and although I did not use salt, the color mixing that happened, I was also able to do on the sample painting cleanly without any mudding or any issues. So I definitely find that really impressive. The price point of the entire kit, where you're going to get the brush, the 6 tubes of paint here. You're going to get the Academy, the Academy watercolor pad, which is 190-pound cold pressed paper. So, and it's 15 sheets in here, I do believe. And if you paint front and back, then you got 30, but I don't typically paint front and back. So for all intents and purposes, with what you get in the kit, the paints, the brush, and the pad, you're only paying $9.99, which is much cheaper than you would pay for a beginner, just a beginner set of paints by themselves. I think this is a pretty recommendable buy. I don't sleep on the coloration at all, and I think that they performed really well as an introductory or a beginner brand of paint. I think they will perform well in actual paintings. You could, you know, I'm going to come back and check this painting again in, you know, a couple of weeks to see if any of the vibrancy has died down. But as for right now, the difference between them being wet directly out of the tube and going down on the swatch and the painting, there was not a huge shift in color at all. And oh, by the way, I do need to also mention that this video was done in segments over a couple of different days, and the paints actually had a chance to dry down. And though the little palette comes too, I forgot about the little palette. The little 6-well palette comes in the kit. All of that for $9.99 at Walmart or Walmart.com. I'm sure you might be able to source it some other places, but I figure Walmart is pretty accessible to everybody. And the paints actually dried down in the well, and they re-wet really well, and they still gave me the same vibrancy of performance as they did coming straight out of the tube. So this is one of the cheaper brands of paints that you can dry down in a palette. And I'm gonna be honest, the only one that did any cracking was the black, and it was quite a bit of paint in some of these. So yeah. There you have it, guys. Hopefully you found some information in this video that's going to be helpful to you on whether or not you would like to add this art kit to your art supply collection. I definitely recommend it. I would definitely buy it as a gift for a beginner painter. I think this is something that would hold their interest. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you liked any of that. Go ahead and subscribe so you can keep up with other art kit videos that we are going to be doing. Don't forget to use the comment section. Let me know what you think of this art kit. Do you have Derwent paints, or maybe this art kit? What do you think of the paints? How do they perform for you? Go ahead and share the video. Remember that sharing is caring, and it helps to grow the channel and the community. Head on over to the Thrifty Apprentice Facebook page and like us there, where you can keep up with everything that goes on both on and off camera. And as I tell you in every single video, don't forget, this is only $9.99 for the entire kit. Just keep painting.